capsule of the return Axiom-4 mission flight, and of course the return flight was carried by a joint SpaceX Axiom mission here. This has been the 4th ISS mission organized by Texas-based startup Axiom Space in collaboration with SpaceX. SpaceX, as we know, the private rocket venture of Elon Musk, headquartered near Los Angeles. So what we saw were 2 sets of, in fact 3 sets of parachutes visible through the darkness with infrared cameras, and they slowed the capsule's final descent moments before its splashdown off San Diego. And what we are now seeing, as Dr. Sharma has also explained, the final cleaning up operations of this capsule, from which we will see the crew members alighting shortly, and the crew members now just trying to open the door. And of course, one hopes that the crew members are healthy and have safely returned to Earth. Well, Dr. Sharma, as we await the crew members' return, and of course they have returned, but we await the visuals upon their return. Minutes earlier, we saw the spacecraft had been streaking like a mechanical meteor through Earth's low atmosphere. Of course, it generates enough frictional heat to send temperatures outside the capsule soaring. So that's why we see these marks on the capsule. So are there any dangers here that we should be careful of? And I mean, the astronauts' flight suits are designed to keep them cool, right?
Of course, as we always say, the 53 minutes of the ordeal, we call it. The most critical moments of the 53 minutes from the time the decision is taken to enter into what is called as the deorbit burn starts at about 53 minutes, and 36 minutes from the touchdown, the real situation where the capsule enters into the atmosphere starts. That is where the most crucial period, where when the capsule enters into the Earth atmosphere, the temperature outside the capsule will be 1800 degrees centigrade, and it will form a sort of film. And you would have also seen there will be cut off. There won't be any communication between the capsule and the ground. That is the type of situation what we call as plasma will be created. The Earth is the beauty of this nature. The beauty of this creation is so good. It is that neither it would allow anything to go out, nor it would allow anything to come inside, which would create danger to this Mother Earth, which is really beautiful. Of course, we have to cross the boundaries for our own research, our own, exploration, etc. But we have to undergo this, ordeal. When it enters, the one is the temperature, which is 1800 degrees centigrade, and the second thing is the contaminants in the atmosphere, various chemicals, the various minerals which are there in the upper atmosphere, which would react with the, with the capsule body, and also which would also trigger various chemical, various chemical combinations and various chemical reactions, I should say, which would really make the capsule extremely toxic. Therefore, once it becomes toxic, that is one part which one has to be very careful when the capsule is, splashes down. Is the first thing. Second thing is that when it enters the Earth atmosphere at around 36 minutes from the touchdown point, the G levels will be around 4 to 5 G. The astronauts would experience 4 to 5 G of the gravitation. Please imagine 4 to 5 times of what gravity what we have will be experienced, because that is the type of resistance that the upper atmosphere offers to the module. That will really create physical, mental, psychological disturbance to the astronaut, even though it is a pressurized cabin, even though adequate care is taken to ensure that the astronauts are safe. But it is true that the astronauts will experience the shock, the thermal shock. They will experience the physical shock, and also they will experience the plasma effect, which is which will surround when the module enters the Earth atmosphere. beyond that, when it splashes down also, it is splashing down on the sea, and it is again, a hard water, which is, a salt water with all the chemicals, and the minerals in water. Again, there will be reaction happening across the modules, and which would generate the toxic gases, toxic chemicals around the module. That is the reason so much of care is taken to clean, wash, and then so much care is being taken. Even if you can see, after now it is already more than 45 minutes since the capsule has touched down, and it's more than 5 minutes since the first hatchet door is open. Now you can see the inside. The astronauts are seen, and now each one by one astronauts will be wheeled out. So the care is absolutely essential, and the changes in environment, the changes in conditions which the astronauts go through while going from Earth to space and to ISS, and in back to the entire cycle, the type of changes that they would have undergone is tremendous. You would have also seen Shubhanshu Shukla saying, as soon as the launch happened in Falcon 9 on June 25th, it happened. At around after 13 minutes of launch, when they came out of astronaut suits, he was feeling dizzy and he was feeling sleepy, and he slept off for most of the remaining period of the journey. And also after reaching there, he was feeling his head heavy. Therefore, please understand that this human body has to adapt, and it takes time to adapt, and that necessary conditions and supplements, and also the care should be taken to ensure that the astronauts are safe and sound in all respects. Now you can see the astronauts are one by one being wheeled out, and with such a care. And even after that, they will need at least a week for rehabilitation. Over to you.
Yeah, Dr. Sharma, for India, Poland and Hungary, this launch has marked the first human space flight of each country in more than 40 years, and the first mission ever to send astronauts from their government's respective space agencies to the ISS. Do you think it's a landmark achievement for these three countries involved, India, Poland and Hungary?
I would really extend it beyond these three countries. If you see last decade and a half, the way the space industry is growing in this country, namely the India particularly, and across the globe, is phenomenal. If you see, there is always give and take. There is always coordination, cooperation. There is always the mutual understanding between the space agencies is a really, really very healthy type of situation. This is one. Second thing, if you see in the country itself, unlike we had only ISRO working on the space earlier, if you see in the last decade and a half, there are at least 200 to 300 startups which have come up, which are into space activities, which are giving solutions, and which are giving various potential space-related activities. There are more than 200 to 300 industries which are participating in a very large scale. Industry participation, private participation is also extremely important. Therefore, this mission of Axiom-4 with NASA, with SpaceX, involving countries like Hungary and Poland, India, and the US is really one of the landmarks, I should say, which is a commercial launch. And this trend, I'm sure, will continue. You remember, and also please recall, that the Axiom-4 is not just working on this mission. It already had the three successful missions with NASA and SpaceX, and this is the fourth mission. And also Axiom is working on the replacement for the International Space Station, which is supposed to have its life ended by end of this decade. The life of ISS was expected to be 30 years, and in 1998 the ISS was established, and 2028 practically it should it should get deorbited. But now it might go up to 2030 the way the things are happening. Therefore, next space station, International Space Station, which Axiom-4 has taken the lead. I think other countries will also join with equal proportion, and also the vigor and vitality. I'm sure this a trend of everyone, every country joining together to make finally the human for the humanitarian cause is something which is really important. Also, it gives a very big boost to the human psychology in terms of everyone feeling proud of their achievements, etc. And also scientifically and technologically, if you see, whenever the country progresses, it is really of a situation which makes the entire country.
Okay. We are now seeing Dr. Sharma, Peggy Whitson of the USA, alighting from the capsule. Very hearty, relieved expression on her face. Of course, brimming with the delight as she has completed an 18-day mission on the ISS. Peggy Whitson, 65, retired from NASA in 2018 after a pioneering career that included becoming the US Space Agency's first female chief astronaut and the first woman ever to command an ISS expedition. Dr. Sharma, as we await Shubhanshu Shukla also alighting from this capsule, we were talking about how these endeavors joint endeavors of different countries, space agencies are involved. Do you think we are closer to space tourism now?
Well, there is much more to do than space tourism as well. If you see, even this country, namely India, and in particular ISRO, it had been doing scientific missions like Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, Gaganyaan, then Suryayaan, which are all for the public outreach. If you see, and public are very happy, and the children are very happy. 144 people feel very proud whenever we do science, science modules and science launch, etc. is there. But that's only one part. Of course, to answer your question, yes, space tourism, the way we have gone ahead with the private participation, the commercial launch, it is necessary, definitely possible that in near future, maybe half a decade from now, the space tourism should become very, very practical. Okay, right now it's only the astronauts, the trained pilots, and the flight experienced astronauts who are flying, but the general public also should fly. This is the reason the experiments which are happening in ISS for diabetes cure, or for blood pressure cure, or for cancer cure, the experiment which are happening, and also the muscle loss of muscle power, loss of
okay, here we see the moment we were all waiting for. Group Captain, India's Shubhanshu Shukla, alighting from the capsule now. Well, really waving happily and